How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Fourever Arsenal podcast. 4-man up, full house in the building. James is gassed, Lee can't believe it, and Jordan's vexed as always. So here we are. We are back, the full collective in the house. Hit the like button, people. Welcome back, James. Actually,
I was gonna say, Lee, do you reckon that guy, Lee, the guy on the bottom left? Do you recognise him? Who's this? Who's this guest?
Well, he turns up when he wants, doesn't he? You know what I mean? Like, you know, being the highest paid person on the pod, I think he does what he likes. You know what I mean? Like,
he's the Kai Havertz, isn't he? He's the Kai Havertz.
He is the Kai Havertz of this pod,
yeah. You'd be nervous without him, then, Lee, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. Like, no, I'm not going to get like, I don't know. I suppose I'm Kivia. What am I now? Like, as the lowest paid?
You're Jorginho, mate. You're gone by next season.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'm Jorginho. Yeah, Jorginho.
You've had your prime.
Person, which I found out this week that I'm the lowest paid.
Yeah, you did your best work on other podcasts.
Unbelievably,
got you for a bit.
James is definitely the Kai Havertz. He's like on about treble the amount that I'm on. Like, he's definitely Kai Havertz.
And never shows up, Lee. Never shows up.
Well, yeah, well, you know what I mean. Who would that be? That's got well. If that's the case, then Turkish has got to be Tommy Asu. He's got to be Tommy Asu. Got paid.
Tommy Asu. This guy's come on here saying Invincible's the #1 pod again. I don't know where.
Well, lucky I get well paid on that, you know, because it is the #1 there again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the ratings have gone up, and I'm going to be putting a lot more into that, a lot more effort into that. Like, I might do a Gyökeres and go on strike. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, because it seems like you go on strike, you get what you want, you know. So I might try that.
Oh, we'll see how that one goes, people. We'll keep you updated. If you no longer see Lee, then you know what's happened. But big up, though. How's everyone doing? Is everyone good?
Yes, man. All good.
Oh, I've been ecstatic the last few days, I've got to say. Like, everything's been great. To find out that James is on triple money more than me, that was a hard.
I don't know where this has come from.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he's just...
I missed 1 week, and I don't know when.
The figures were out, James, and apparently you're on the big piece.
We've heard, like, you know what I mean? It's all been let out.
Yeah.
Superb. Well, get yourself a new agent is all I'm saying.
all I know is that I spoke to Jordan individually, and he said, I'm quite happy with my pay rise. And then he found out about yours, and he put the phone down. I don't know what was going on. Like that,
James ain't even had a pay rise.
James gets a pay rise and goes on quadruple the amount that I'm on. I said, there's got to be something said, like, you know what I mean? It really is.
Positivity pays, Lee. They're hearing, it's obviously because we work with the club, obviously. So everyone's like, oh, yeah, James, well done for running the party line. Here's more money. So it's great, man. It pays to sell your soul.
Do you know what? Turkish turned around and said, well, I'll get here on time most times, and that's why mine's a little bit more than yours, you know what I mean? Like, and I do press the play button. I do. He said that. He said, I press the play button, I get an extra 25 quid for pressing the play button. I said, that's unreal.
To this day, I'd love to see Lee run one of these shows. So maybe we'll do that one day and then see
how you should actually be dock money for some of your thumbnails, because they're a disgrace. But that's another story, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Nah, the one that you're talking about, again, it was Ryan. I was in Cyprus. I wasn't doing thumbnails out there, so.
Oh, well, Ryan, the less said about him, the better.
There's where some of your pay goes. But yeah, let's keep. We have got a lot to talk about, especially as a collective. It's been a while. I was missing for a couple of weeks. James has been missing for a couple of shows now, and we're back. Signings galore. Yes, Lee.
I'd just like to say, you know what I mean? You're not going to comment about and tell everybody that, you know, you've done it again. You've overslept. You know what
I mean? We got a.
Lee, it's pre-season, Lee. It's not even the season's not even started.
Yeah, he gives it the old large, you know what I mean? But we're back to normal. You're not on a blank screen as we wake up.
That's quite clever. He's getting them out in pre-season when it doesn't matter.
I was at Wireless yesterday. I had a nice day, you know, in the sun. I'm an old head now, and you know, I stretched my legs a little bit, walked for 6-7 hours, and you know, vibes cartel, Burner Boy. Now I'm here.
I'm glad you're
slightly late, but
yeah. That's where Lee was as well.
Yeah.
Wireless, like that, you know.
Exactly. But I'm
Lee,
here,
what's
yes.
wrong? Tell us
What's
what's
right?
wrong,
I ain't gonna lie. I don't know about everybody else, but I've had hardly any sleep. Right, I couldn't
Why?
get to sleep last night. And then up early. He just strolls in when he wants. It's just like, you know what I mean.
James, when you was away, Lee was late, and now
1 minute I was late, James. 1 minute, and
1 minute or
and he had a
17
big
minutes.
moan out of
1 minute or 17 minutes. You're late.
It was exactly right. And as I come on the screen, this is him.
For our audio listeners, Lee's pointing to his watch.
Yes.
You know, yeah. You know, and there it is today. Like, I've been wireless, walked around. Let's go. Let's get on with the show.
Don't worry, man. Don't worry. Pre-season, people, get it out of the way now. The rustiness. Get match fit for the season. Even my internet's looking a bit funny. I don't know. Some of you are freezing. Are we good?
Yeah, you're coming through okay. Yeah,
You're
you're
right,
coming
bud.
through right.
Yeah.
Where do we begin? I mean, there hasn't been any official unveiling since the last show, but Madueke is on the verge of being, released, and the Gyökeres news has really ramped up in the last 24 hours. So
yeah, Turkish, a deal in principle. That's where we are. A deal in principle has been done. And Romano's done another video as well, another preview to the actual signing video.
What's he said in that one? Soon here we go again? Or?
You know what? Keep talking. I'm going to find it. Keep talking. I'm going to find it.
Knowing him, he'll probably copyright his little videos as well. You better watch out.
Hang on, I'll read it. Hang on.
Looks like a good weekend, though, boys. Doesn't it? If I've been really honest, I'm buzzing for this one because for me, if it is going to happen, which it does look like it's going to, it's a game changer for me. It's a game changing signing. You know, I think at this moment in time, everybody patting everybody on the back. We've actually signed players as replacements. We haven't really signed anybody that's going to improve our 11. You can talk about Zubimendi, maybe not, but this one, there's no doubt. This is the one that I do think gives us more of a chance of winning the league or a big trophy this season. I really do. I do, and I don't want to put pressure on the manager and pressure on everybody else, but
I do.
Well, yeah, maybe that's what football clubs should do. But I just feel for me, this is the signing. This is the one for me. I do think it could potentially get us over the line.
I think so. I missed last week, and obviously, I think when you recorded things with Gyökeres were looking quite positive, or very positive, and then obviously it went a bit quiet while sort of final details and stuff are being ironed out. It looks like that's all done. This deal could be up to, including add-ons, at 65 million pounds, guys, which I think, to be fair, huge credit to Berta, Arteta, and everyone involved. That seems great value. It really does. For one of the most prolific goal scorers in Europe, yes, there's risk attached to it. I think the fee reflects that there's risk attached to it because any goal scorer of those numbers shouldn't be going for less than 80. So I think actually Arsenal have done well on that front. What I like about this window, and let me be clear, I don't love every deal. But what I do like is that it's the 14th of July. We said that we wanted at least the bulk of our business, but pretty much everything done by pre-season. And it's looking like that's exactly what we're going to be getting. And there's nowhere to hide for these guys. I think there's a lot of accountability that, to be fair, is being shouldered in the fees that they're spending on players. Zubimendi's coming in for £50 million. Madueke is a £52 million winger. And Gyökeres is a £65 million striker. The three absolute must-address positions, whether we agree with those players or not, have been done, and we're looking to add Eze as well. Let's hope we do, because I think that's a massive missing piece. I think if that gets done, I'll feel a lot better about everything else. But a huge amount of business has been done. I don't love every signing. I'm not convinced by this Madueke thing. But Arteta's got his £50 million winger and his £60-70 million striker. There's nowhere to hide now. That investment's been there. Mm-hmm. And I think that in itself is a step or show of ambition that I wasn't convinced we were going to see from the club. I thought they might do a striker but not a winger. I thought they might do a DM but not an attacking midfielder. And it does look like they're trying to do all of it. So guys, I'm feeling pretty positive about it. Whether I love every signing or not, I'm feeling pretty positive about it.
Well, that's the point, James. You say there's nowhere to hide because they've addressed those particular positions. But I would argue if the quality, and obviously it's down to opinions, right? We can all disagree and argue about whether we think that the guys that have been brought in are good enough or not. But if the general consensus is that Madueke is playing on the left isn't an upgrade on what we've already got there, then they've given themselves somewhere to hide. Because I guarantee you that if this goes the way I think it's going to go, we'll be doing this podcast in December talking about why didn't we really go for a proper left winger in the summer? Do you know what I mean? So when you say there's nowhere to hide, I think they've kind of inadvertently given themselves somewhere. They've given themselves an out. Because what we'll be saying if this doesn't go the way that we hope it does go is, in hindsight, Madueke, was that really
I disagree, John, respectfully.
Was that the Premier League winning striker, a winger we needed?
No, but we'll look at Arteta and go, why did you sanction £50 million on Noni Madueke? I don't think there's anywhere to hide. I think we'll all look at him and go, well, that's that then. Your talent ID.
Sorry, that's what I mean. Sorry, I'm confusing myself. That's what I mean. Sorry. I thought you were making the point that they've covered themselves in the event that they've done all they can to give themselves the best chance of winning the title. Oh. What I'm saying is that I don't think they have.
I think they've spent the money. I think they spent the money to show an accountability. Now there's really nowhere to go. Like now, for me, I'll look at them and go on, Jordan. Sorry.
But is the money on the players they've signed the sort of money you think that is Premier League winning money? Is 50 million on the winger the sort of winger that's going to win you the title? Is 60? And I agree with you that for the players that they are, Zubimendi included, I think the fees we've paid are relatively good. I think it's good value. But I don't think we're looking at good value. We're looking at game changers. And if it means paying a little bit over the odds to get a game changer in, that's what I think they should have done. They've brought in sensible signings that are good buys for good fees. But are these are these the sort of players that we look and think, I'm looking at Liverpool's front line, I'm still not convinced ours is better than theirs.
No,
even with Gyökeres in. I'm looking at City's front line. Is it definitely better than their front line?
Okay, but okay,
do you know what I mean? I don't think with just because we've addressed certain positions, that doesn't mean our chance of winning the title are increased. Does that make sense?
Sure. No. Okay. So there's two different questions. Have we actually got better, and actually have Arsenal invested here? So for me, Arsenal clearly see something in Madueke. They spent 50 million. This wasn't just a Sterling loan or a Willian free. This wasn't a cheap way out. They've gone and spent £52 million on him. Now, I think we all collectively as a panel think that isn't a good use of funds. But that's where they've decided to put it. So with Mikel Arteta, whatever happens end of the season, we will. Okay, not whatever happens, win the title, then we'll go, great, you're a genius. But if we have another season like the last one, we'll look at him and go, but you wanted Noni Madueke 50 million. You wanted Kai Havertz for 65 million. You wanted Gabby Jesus, which, to be fair, for 4 months age very well, for 45, 50 million. You know what I mean? There's nowhere to hide for these guys. They've had the money now.
Sorry to cut you, James, but why is that different to last season and the year before?
Because we were in for forwards and potentially a striker last summer, and we got Raheem Sterling on loan on the final day. Because the summer before, we knew we needed a winger. Despite adding Havertz, we added Rice, and we never went for Kudus. This time, every position, if we get Eze, may I say, but actually, I think even so, I mean, this is 6 signings through the door. I don't think Arteta could turn around and say, "Well, I wasn't back this summer." He's been given one of the most prolific strikers in Europe. He's been given a £50 million Premier League winger. He's been given two new defensive midfielders, and they want Eze on top of it. I don't know, guys. I mean, I won't be turning. Sure. I promise you now, I won't be turning around and saying, "Yeah, but has Arteta really been given everything he needs?" I will not be saying that if things go wrong. I promise you, I won't be saying that.
You're both aligned. You're both just looking at it from a different perspective. I think what James is saying is right in that, the light excuse can't be used again because we've gone through that last year and we've surely learned our lesson. So talking of numbers strictly, positions addressed, so far so good from James's opinion. Whereas Jordan, you're looking at the quality coming in. And then when you look at it like that, I mean, if Zubimendi and Norgard, they're coming in to replace 2 players, it's really just Gyökeres that has made the direct improvement into the starting 11. So then you look around and think, okay, City, Liverpool, have we done? So I think you're both aligned on what you're saying, just different perspectives.
We're going to be here in 4 or 5 months' time or end of this time next year, and we're going to be saying Madueke? Really?
We're saying it now.
Well, we are, but I think we're making peace with the fact that that's his decision. So therefore, I'm just kind of pulling up what James's words were, but he's been backed. I'm not so sure you could say you're backing your manager if you're giving him Madueke as the option.
But I think Madueke is one of the clearest examples of an Arteta signing. Yeah, because with the pace we moved at him for, the value we've taken him for, which could have been negotiated down, that's for sure. The intent behind the signing is very similar to the Havertz one.
I've got a theory. I think it's the opposite.
I think it's his signing.
Sorry, I'll shut up and I'll let Lee come in. I've got a theory. I think someone at Chelsea has told someone at Arsenal, Madueke is gettable. I think that I don't think Arteta wanted Madueke. I think he's been given the heads up that he could get him, and a deal could be done for a reasonable fee, and they deem 55 million reasonable for a young Chelsea winger. I'm not convinced that he did want Madueke. No, I think we've been served up.
Personally. I think it is. I'm not hearing it any other way. He's the highest paid employee, Mikel. You know, he's the one these things go through, and the pace we moved at this for, it's like, you know, very few other transfers. So for me, it's one that, you know, I think it's come out that he was a key target for Mikel. I think that's what's worded as from Fabrizio Ornstein, one of them. So, you know, even that one, regardless of what we think about the quality, James is right. He's getting his man. It's just that a lot of us don't agree that his man is going to be the one to help take us over the line, and that's where the frustration comes into play.
For me, I don't agree or disagree with the signing. What I find a little bit strange is that we were prepared to not negotiate, get it done very, very quickly. We've probably at least 15 million £15 over the top. Easy. I don't care what anybody says. A player that's gone to, you know, we've said this. It's like a player coming like Vieira going into there to us, and we're selling Vieira for 50 million. We're not going to sell Vieira for 50 million. Like, you know, he's done nothing for Arsenal over the last couple of years that merits that, and nor has Madueke. He's not done that. But what everybody seems to do is go, oh, it's fantastic news to scrimp and save with Sporting. Which we have done, and risked maybe losing that, and the players had to go on strike, and then just hand over an extra £15 million to Chelsea. I think that's what a lot of fans have got the ump about. Like, you know, do we need a player that's to come in like? And my argument is, and I still say this now, you're not. I don't. You know, like say like people are going, oh, we could have got Gyökeres, or we could have got Morgan White-Phillips in that position and all that, like blah blah. We could have get, I don't know, someone else. The fact of the matter is, some of these players might have spoken to them and said, "No, I'm not prepared to come as a backup to Saka." I think we have to get that into consideration, and also maybe to get somebody like that to become a backup, you've got to give them a bigger wages. But I don't think that's the case. I don't really so it's very, very hard to sort of get your head around that deal, and I think that, listen, I've been listening to that. There's people out there, and there's fans out there, Arsenal fans now, saying that Gyökeres ain't the answer. He's too slow. He's not this. He's not that. I do believe there's a lot of people out there that will. It don't matter if we got and spent 100 million on somebody, there will be someone going, oh, that's Mikel's fault, or it's not Mikel's fault, or whatever. There's just a way it is with Arsenal fans. There's people now that if this doesn't work, they'll be all on to Mikel and all that, like, you know. And if it does work, everybody will be going, oh, Mikel is the god. It's just the way it is with us at the moment. I don't care what anybody says. When a player comes through the door, the manager signs that off. He's not going to. Mikel is not at a stage where he's going to turn around and go, "No, I don't accept this." And I feel, you know, when people go, "Oh, he hasn't got this power." This is a guy that let Aubameyang go for nothing, and the whole board, everybody around him, agreed. It would cost us millions and millions of pounds, but. No, Mikel knows, and Mikel. So it's his signing at the end of the day because he signed it off. And if it works, it works. I honestly don't believe he's going to be the one that's going to be playing on the left side at this moment in time. It's still
agree.
Martinelli, in my opinion. He will play a lot of games covering. I do think that, and I know it's fantastic. And I'm saying about what I'm saying now is that I'm fantastic. We've got Gyökeres. It should still not be done. We are not complete, boys. We need at least another 1 or 2 players coming in. Eze then, I think, is someone that we need, someone like that. But what I'm saying now, the pressure's off of us. I don't know if I'm right or whether I'm wrong. The pressure in how I feel as a fan now is off. We've got the main one. We can work on that in pre-season, get him scoring goals, which I'm pretty sure he will do. And the rest takes care of itself with a little bit less pressure. That's all I'm saying. And
I wouldn't say pressure off, Lee. It's more relief, isn't it? It's like, we've got the
relieved.
9.
Yes,
Right. We've got
I am relieved. People saying to me, which is like, and aggressively at times. You know what I mean? Well, you knew you was going to get a striker and all that. Like the same people were telling me this in January, and it didn't happen. So yeah, I have been a little bit worried. That Arsenal were not going to do this. I was a little bit worried that we wasn't going to get Gyökeres and we was going to end up with maybe a 30-year-old Ollie Watkins. Nothing against him, but I didn't want him as the main man. For me, Sesko or Gyökeres was out there, either or. And I'm going to say if you wanted to really push me, guys, and I think we're all in the same boat here, I wanted the ready-made one. And I think we've got that. So that's how I am at the minute. You're right, James. I'm at that. I don't care what happens in the transfer window now. And as far as incomings are concerned, I'll be a bit worried if a big one goes from the other side. But what I'm saying is, this moment in time, I'm gassed that we've got him.
I'm not.
Allegedly.
I think that I can tell a lot of the people that you might have been speaking to about it post Gyökeres news anyway, because I've seen a lot of it as well. Calm down. The striker was always coming. I'm kind of different to you, Lee. I knew a striker was coming. So it's not like this happens, goes through the door, I see the shirt and I'm relieved. I'm not relieved because I know there's still work to be done in order to truly believe we can win this title from Liverpool and and continue to be above City. It's not just Gyökeres that does that. And then that the elephant in the room is still the 50 M's we spent on a winger that you lot don't think starts on the left wing. And I can't believe doesn't start as our 5th highest transfer of all time.
Yeah.
But there's probably more questions now than there was at the start of the season, because why have you done that? That's the big question number one. And we've landed on Gyökeres. I'm happy we've landed on Gyökeres. Probably took a little too long in terms of making that decision. And it seems like it's one that it kind of played out that way than it was. We identified him start of the summer and really went for him. Otherwise, I think we would have been done sooner. What else? What else I'm looking at? Because this is the one where there can't be any excuses. This is the one where it needs to happen this season, or Mikel will have to go. But I caveat this with, if we finish 3rd this coming season, job done in terms of what the owners expect of our manager and the club and the position and whatnot. And I feel like that's the position we are back in now. We are back in that position where fans are going to look at it and, no, we didn't do it. It's not enough ambition. We didn't get that, real top winger in, or the depth into the central midfield with Odegaard, and that's what's going to cost us. I still feel like that again. That we're back to square one, where the Champions League football will be enough, because right now we've made one improvement to our starting 11, so that means we're one injury away from what it was again when we know we needed 3 players on top of what it was. So we are, in my opinion, we are still some way far off. Yes, 14th of July, striker looks like he's in the door. Zubimendi's in the door. That's 2 top signings, and everything else around it is either question marks or, okay, understandable depth. There's still a couple more signings we need to really be, ready for this Premier League season.
What in your eyes are those 2 shots? I'd like to know this now.
Eze and Rodrigo. That would be the 2.
I don't think we'll get 2. I think we might get Eze.
And that's why I always look at the Madueke now. And again, it's nothing on the player. I've rarely talked about the player. I've done a couple of videos on my channel flipping, yes. But if you take the man I talked about, the player from them, hardly anything. Maybe a minute or in a minute and a half, 2. It's the
I
club.
saw your video with Rory Jennings. You're actually saying that you were praising Madueke at the first part of the season.
Yeah, because
Doing
people
well
all
for
of a
Chelsea.
sudden, especially with Rio's notes, people all of a sudden are linking. Oh, I see, he's talking about you. I'm talking about the club. I'm frustrated with the club. It's not the player's fault that we've gone to spend 50 million on him, nearly double what he was. It's not his. So that one's always going to be one that confuses me, because even if we go into the season with just the Eze, right? And I say just the Eze is a top player. There's going to come a time when we're looking at the wings again and thinking we're missing something here, because the wing acquisition so far is not. He doesn't bring what we need. So
okay,
I think that would be down on the manager, because I still don't
it
think
is.
that
It is.
that in my opinion, I don't know where you're on this. I don't think Arteta wants an out and out winger. I don't think that's the way he plays. I really don't.
But Lee, but I'm sorry, yeah. We always say this as well, right? He had Pepe. Pepe is a better winger and that profile of winger than Madueke. He hated Pepe.
That's
Barely,
what I'm saying.
barely played him. So why now are we thinking that this I don't get the signing, and then even his character might be more similar to Aubameyang, who we didn't like. So even any angle I look at this signing, from the value to the character to the ability, none of it is making sense to me. None of
I
it.
think Madueke comes in as one of our best, like
Carriers.
carriers and 1v1 dribblers. I honestly we weren't linked to him when I first said this. I thought he was impressive on the left for Chelsea. By the way, I don't think he's come in to be our starting left winger. He ended last season, a few games against Liverpool, Man United, playing on the left. I thought he looked more. Actually, I thought he looked better than he did on the right. So I don't know if that's something else to have in mind. I actually don't think it's that. I think here's the way I view the squad building. What I think they're trying to do. I think they got one more in the minutes. Eze. I agree with you, Tesh. Rodrigo would be unbelievable. The one thing, guys, we have to just accept is at the moment he's not going anywhere. Like, he actually just doesn't want to. There's not a lot you can do about that. If a player doesn't want to leave Real Madrid, the only other left winger that I saw as I'm convinced they're going to come in and make us better, is Nico Williams. He signed a new deal at Bilbao. Even Bayern and Barca couldn't get that done. So my question,
Lookman would have.
but do you think Lookman is better on the left than Eze?
I don't think Eze is left wing. I think Eze is central, but Lookman's better than Madueke.
But is he prepared to be a backup? I know what you're saying.
I think Lookman's got more chance of taking a left wing spot than Eze. Lookman's a different profile because he's in and around the box. He is he's become that, he's hungry. He wants to get in the box. He wants to take a shot. He's different to Martinelli and. No, I mean, Eze for me is central. Eze for me 8 and 10 with Odegaard, potentially 10 sometimes. Yeah,
I think Eze will play wide left as well if we get him. I think what Arteta does like is players light in the profile of Eze that can play in 2 or 3 positions. And whether you like that or not, I think that those sort of players you need when you've got a squad of 25, and you're going to need to just do that every now and then. And I think that if we could get Eze, and I do believe that we will do, but I don't think we're going to be rushed into this one.
So why do we do this? If you two are saying Eze is the one for the left wing, why have we done this Madueke thing then?
I don't know why we've done this. I just think as a backup to Saka and playing a squad role, and which guys, we do need squad players as well. And we needed a couple of players to improve the 11. We need a couple of rotators, and we need a couple of squad players as well.
Yeah, guys, squad players cost money. And I know, Tex, I heard your point. I think it was again on Rory's video, maybe it was somewhere else. I've been watching a lot of your content around Madueke, and you're right. Arsenal don't do this. They don't spend 50 million on squad depth. I hear you, but that's what Man City do. That's what Nunez has become at Liverpool. Man City spent 40 million on Phillips, then set him out on loads. Then they went and signed Nico for 40 million as well, I think, in January. Now they're looking to sell him, and then they've added Reinders, and he's been starting as a 6 at times. That's kind of the level of investment in just the squad that we're trying to compete with. Now, look, it remains to be seen. There's sorry?
But the problem is we can't pick and choose when we say Man City do this. We know that we are not Man City, And we know that very few teams, not just of Arsenal's, but in world football, can do what Man City do. So we can't really soften the blow by saying that's what they like. Even Nico Gonzalez comes in, looks like he might. We just can't and don't do that. So, and on top of that, if you see a Dingra going for 21 mil, or if you see Lookman's at 40 mil, or if you see Bakayoko could be got at 25 millish, I understand the need for squad and depth. I don't understand taking someone that's underwhelmed for 28, 30 mil at a London rival and then paying nearly double when, like for like at our club, we cannot, pull out the same with a Vieira. Do you know what I mean?
I hear that, but would you have been happy with a Dingra, even if he was coming as a squad option? Like, I wouldn't have been.
I'd be calm. I'd be calmer than this. I'd be like,
Really?
all right, 20 mil winger, cool. Like, I mean, I get it, but it wouldn't put us off going for a Rodrigo. Whereas I think this one does. I think this is our wing signing now.
Okay, maybe. And I hear that. The problem is, where this ages terribly is if Rodrigo ends up going to Liverpool or PSG or Man City for 80
or
million.
Chelsea.
Or Chelsea, and we weren't in a position to do it. Yeah, Chelsea, and we weren't in a position to do a deal. Then I'll go, absolutely fair enough. But the way I see it at the moment, he's just not leaving. And with Nico Williams' situation being the same, and it's not just us as a club who's been frustrated by that. It's literally been Barcelona who thought they had their man. I just look at it and go, then there's no other player, I don't think, in world football that is available on the market that I'd rather start on left wing over Eze. Even if he is not a natural left winger like Lookman, why can it not be similar to Gyökeres, where we're now going to play a different way to try and feed a Gyökeres? We have to, because that's what he does. So why can Eze maybe not play on the inside a little bit more? Why can we not ask Lewis Skelly and Calafiori to hug the touchline a little bit more so we can have Eze in the pocket? I like that. Then you've got a player who can play in central spaces too. And if Madueke does go up a level, because Madueke was a starting winger for a team that just got Champions League football, guys. And who's to say he doesn't get better? I don't actually think, while none of us are convinced on A, the signing, and B, the fee, I don't think any of us think he's a bad footballer. Far from it. He's a good footballer. He's just probably not the answer we were expecting or thought. But I don't get 52 million on Madueke. It's a very strange one for me. And if it stops us getting Rodrigo, I have major, major problems with it. But I just don't think they're linked at the moment because I don't think Rodrigo's available. And if there's a starting left winger out there, for me, it's Eze. Now, if our team next season, I'll just do some squad building. If our 11 is Zubimendi, Rice, and Ødegaard as our midfield three, I mean, we need Ødegaard to come back to the levels of 23, 24. But it's a very good midfield with Waneri, Norgard, and Marino behind. You got some experience. You got youngster and Waneri, and then you've got Eze, Gyökeres, and Saka as your front three, with Martinelli, Havertz, and Madueke as your three behind them. I mean, that's a good squad, no? Am I being delusional? I think there's a lot of balance there. You could play a left footer, Madueke out on the left. You could play Martinelli in that position if you need his work rate. You hope he gets better. You've got Eze who can play in central spaces. You can go Rice in the 6 with Marino if you want more steel. You can go Zubimendi, Ødegaard, Eze if you want some craft. I mean, I see a lot there, guys, and I think you've got the out and out striker in Gyökeres, and you've got the Havertz who's the more facilitative guy. I mean, it's not perfect.
In that list you said though, it's no Trossard, Madueke, right?
Yeah, I didn't say Trossard. You're right.
But that is a downgrade in the attack. Trossard was completely different to any of the attackers we have, and Trossard actually, does well off the bench in bit part roles, especially in tight spaces on the pitch. He can go either way. So we've lost that in our attack.
Eze will be that. I think Eze will play out wide like Trossard in the way Trossard plays it.
Yeah. Also, Turkish, you have to say that sometimes you have to move the squad on a little bit. He's in his 30s, 1 year left of his contract. I think he's been a brilliant signing for us for what he's done the job. But you have to refresh, and unfortunately, he's at an age where they probably look at that and refresh.
Well, he's also still here. I mean, him and Jesus are still here. But I get your point, Turkish. I mean, I don't think.
Well, what do you reckon happen with Jesus? Do you think that will be someone that we will keep or sell?
Injury.
No, he'll stay. He'll stay.
We have to keep him.
He's injured. No one's buying him unless they do it to Miasi.
He was going to be fit. Probably September, October. Is that right or not?
I thought it was later than that.
Yeah, November.
I heard October, November.
Yeah. I've got some points to make on Madueke, but we're short on time, so I'll save them for when we sign him next week or when he comes in. But just a question to you guys on Gyökeres. Has anybody got any concerns around his conduct around getting out of Sporting?
No, I
wondered
get it.
this.
I get it. He wants his move. It's about time. I get it.
I did, but when he was told, you know, I was actually told on the number one podcast, The Invincibles, you know, that he had gone back on that the club had gone back on certain things. And if you ever look back at it, Pedro Tottenham had the same situation where
But
he was
it's
promised
nonsense.
things.
At least nonsense. I have zero sympathy for him. This gentleman agreement nonsense is crap. This is a
No, I get there is,
multi-billion-pound
but
industry.
but
And people are relying on words.
sometimes in life, if promises are
Not in
made a
business.
little
Not
bit.
in business. But the point. Sorry to cut you. But the point I wanted to make is that we as Arsenal fans can say we have no issue with his conduct. Do what you got to do to get out. Listen, there's a very famous Swedish proverb. I'm going to butcher it, but if you cheat, at some point you'll be cheated on. If you lie, at some point someone's going to lie to you. If you steal, at some point someone's going to steal to you. So I'm just saying, we as Arsenal fans can say, nah, do what you got to do. Get out there, whatever. But if it happens to us...
Under the Kroenkes, we've been the biggest victims, bro. So it's about time we start stealing and cheating and
I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
Jordan.
I get what you're saying too, but it's the problem is you don't know what these conversations were behind the scenes. I kind of agree. Like, I don't understand why players kind of fall back on this gentleman's agreement thing, but you just never know what's being said behind the scenes and what they're told. And I think probably the frustration is that I think Gyökeres' agent has had to forego some kind of fee. Apparently, he's had to basically sacrifice that so that he doesn't get maybe what he's owed, so that the club can get more of what they're owed and Arsenal spending what they want. I don't know. But what I will say is this. That's one way to look at it, Jordan. I hear it. But Gyökeres, I'm loving the mentality that's coming through with this player. I've got a friend who lives in Lisbon, big football fan. He's a Man United fan. So he was paying close attention to Gyökeres because he thought, you know, there's maybe a move there. And he was saying, James, he's not perfect, but this guy is like, he's a complete and utter fighter. You know, he's the guy who will just drive with the ball into the penalty area and try to win a penalty. He was the guy who takes shots from anywhere. He's the guy who says, give it to me. And I think what's come through this move, if you're to believe all reports, by going on strike, by, you know, make it very clear what he wants to do, taking on the president and whatever, telling other clubs, if you believe Romano, that clubs from Saudi came in for Gyökeres and they said, no, we only want the Arsenal move. You know, at 27 years old, he's saying, give me that shirt. I want to be the main guy. Yeah. And with Sesko, while I, again, thought he was a little bit of a better tactical fit, and in 2-3 years' time, I do think he'll explode into a great player. I remember, on the contrary, his agent was more, well, we're not going to go to war with Leipzig over it. We're not going to make a fuss. You know, we'll honour our contract. And okay, very admirable, fair play, a good way to do business and live your life. But if you're Mikel and you're Berta and you're the Arsenal players, there's something to be said for the guy who's just scored 50 goals in his last league campaign going, I want to be here. I want to be here with you guys.
Made that point last week, and I agree with him. I like that as well. But there's a difference between ambition and unprofessional. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying we can laud it up because it's going in our favour here. But if I steal your wife, I can't then complain when someone steals my wife from me. That's all I'm saying.
But I mean, I don't love the way Van Persie left. I don't love the way Fabregas left. I don't love the way Nasri left. They went on and all won Premier League titles, guys, and ultimately...
But they weren't unprofessional, though.
By the way, I love Fabregas, but didn't he skip training? And I think, if I'm not mistaken...
I don't remember that.
I don't think
he went to the Grand Prix, didn't he?
Oh,
well, there was something. I can't remember. By the way, I love Fabregas. I'd have him back as our manager. And Nasri, I know, definitely wasn't... I mean, I know he came back and played a couple games before he moved to City that summer, but I didn't love some of the things from Nasri. Or maybe that was after he joined. I don't know, guys. I'm
not flagging to be difficult. I'm just flagging to say these characteristics are a thing that we overlook now, but if it happens to us in a year's time, do you know what? That's what I'm saying.
Completely fair point. I hear you.
I hear you. This is the move for him now. He's not doing this. This is the big one. He's shafted off United, big wages. Same league, Saudi, bigger wages.
Turkish.
He must want to win.
You got the prettiest girl in the world. There's always someone prettier.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's,
For 4 years, it'll do.
to say, very admirable that he's decided to become one of the lowest paid strikers in the club. You have to admire him for that.
I hadn't even seen no talk about how much he could potentially be, and we don't really ever find that out.
Well, apparently he's on a lot less than Kai Havertz, James, and he's quite low on Jesus, Jordan, and
Well, don't worry, Lee. We've got our own Gyökeres coming in. His name's Dan Potts. He knows how to take the ball. He's entering his prime. The contract's up,
he's on
mate.
fire as well. His podcast's on fire. He's doing really well. Over there. Really well.
Yeah, look, we know in this podcast we've all been umming and ahhing about Gyökeres. In Turkish, you've been Gyökeres all the way. Actually, the rest of us, I know, whatever. But we've got the win now striker. I mean, Turkish, you're happy, right? I mean, this is the guy I wanted.
No, I'm happy, 100%.
Not me, but yeah,
I'm happy, but I have to caveat it with there's work to be done.
Sure, yeah.
We wasn't just one striker off last season. We was a bit of creativity through the middle off. We was a bit of directness off the left off. It's a few. That's why with Gyökeres, I'm happy. But Madueke, I'm confused.
Guys, I'm sorry. I look at it. I think like we went 5 months without a striker, competed. To bring in this striker, it's a big deal for me. I really do think that this could be. I think as I said last week, won't go on. It's not just his goals; it's going to bring a different thing to us. Like which we've been lacking as a group. Yeah, I do. A proper goal scorer. It means that you got someone there that's taking the pressure off of certain players to score goals as well. I just think it's a massive, massive move. I really do.
The pressure's still on for me on Martinelli to rediscover some form.
Yeah, Odegaard as well. People keep saying that Odegaard is going to come back.
you always do that.
There's no nothing to say that he will, and there's nothing to say he won't. He's got to have a bloody good pre-season. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he's like in pre-season. I don't know about you guys, more than probably a lot of other players, because I do think if he goes up to the level that James was saying he was a couple of seasons ago, that's another big boost for us. You know what I mean? Like, we're playing at times with 10 men, not in a defensive side, but as an attacking. He was poor, very, very poor. And what I think, if you've got Eze and you've got Nwaneri coming through as well, and also, dare I say it without getting bombarded, maybe Kai Havertz playing in that role, that he can't afford to be at the level he was last season, because he'd be out. So I think it's a massive thing, massive thing for him. And also, he's going to have a proper centre forward with proper centre forward runs that he can pick out. And I think that's something that he's not had for a couple of seasons. I don't know.
But no, Lee, I agree. I don't think we can overlook dynamics in all this, because let's imagine Odegaard picking up the ball higher up the pitch, because Zubimendi, and I know, obviously we had Partey and Jorginho and the Sixers there before, but let's imagine Odegaard higher up the pitch, picking up the ball in the pockets, right? With a Gyökeres who's making that run in behind immediately. Now, let's imagine the space Odegaard gets when actually Eze's there too. And oppositions are going, well, we want to crowd out the right-hand side, because that's where Saka, White, Timber, Odegaard, that's where they play, right? That tends to be Arsenal focus their football. But now on the left, you've got Miles Lewis-Skelly, you've got potentially Declan Rice in that left day, or you've got Eze in that left day. And while people may not love Madueke, there's a pace and a directness about him. You don't want to leave him completely on his own. Some people might say that's the same as Martinelli, but I think as a left foot, it's a different. I just think you start to ask different questions. Even just having a striker who's constantly willing to make that run in behind means that they're just a couple yards further back, because we don't want to step on too much. All these things have an impact.
Yeah,
and actually, what I do think, I have to say, I do see a world in which I can see the signings complementing each other. Zubimendi and Norgard can spray a long pass, even in behind. Odegaard can play with an Eze, like he did with Smith Rowe a couple of years ago when Smith Rowe was coming off the left. Saka doesn't have to play every single minute right now, because you've got a Madueke who might imagine. One thing I will say, England have done this. You take off Saka, who's been running a fullback for 70 minutes, and you bring on Madueke's pace for the last 20. There's just dynamics I like. I don't love every signing. I have concerns about Madueke. Guys, I have concerns about Gyökeres, by the way. I actually think he's quite unrefined as a player. I actually don't know how much it will translate to the Premier League and all those things. But I quite like the dynamics and I know people hate, the overuse of the word profiles, but I quite like that in the Arsenal team now. So, I think there's positives there. But I agree with Turkish's main point, which is that the work isn't done. And I actually do think you're kind of teetering on you get that one extra player and the window looks so much better, even though we've still done quite a lot. That one extra will make a massive difference. For me, it's Eze. But I think if Rodrigo becomes available, say in August, and there's a £60 million offer on the table for Martinelli, even 50, I think that's the deal you do. All right, thanks, Martinelli, Rodrigo, and go. But I think that's going to be completely opportunistic if it comes.
Sell him anyway.
Yeah, even that. I look at Liverpool and I think, all right, well, Szoboszlai slotted in and then he helped the midfield win a league. Midfield winning league. They buy Verts. If that was us, would be crying shit in our pants, wondering what's going to happen to Szoboszlai. And there's nothing wrong with adding him in front of players. That's, in my opinion, how you create the depth at the highest level. So as much as the Martinelli, or at one point we was all going Martinelli or Trossard to take the hit for a new left winger to come in. Now it's just, in my opinion, Madueke is a winger. He's coming in as that. I can't see us spending 50 mil on Madueke and not playing him left, right when we can. So Eze for me comes in as a central player anyway.
To be fair, you were right with David Raya when we had our doubts on that one, and yeah, you could well be right. I mean, the more I listen to you with that, that's an Arsenal thing to do. We spent 50 million on a guy who's going to start for us. Yeah, you're probably right.
This is where we've got to change our mentality a little bit as fans as well. I think, this will be a games where on a Saturday he may well play, and then on the Tuesday he might not play. And at the end of the day, what you've got to look at is that the drop off isn't as bad as it has been. You know what I mean? Like we really carried passengers last season in our squad, guys. We did. And I don't mean this horribly to the youngsters and all that. There was 4 kids on that bench for quite a lot of the season that didn't ever play for Arsenal, never going to play for Arsenal, have all left now, right? And so they're never going to play for it. We had even players like Sterling that we couldn't trust at the end of the day to come in and do a job. These guys now that are coming in, Madueke and all of that, they have got to come in and do the business, because it's not maybe the games against Barcelona, Spurs, Man City they're going to play in, but they're going to be playing in the games like Wolves, Brighton, teams like that we failed to beat last season, that we need to beat now. And what that means is that we've got players then, when we've going into the back end of the season, big games in Europe, we are fresher. And I think that is important. It is important. We don't want to be going into March, April, May with knackered, Saka knackered. We want them going in fresh. So these guys have got to come in. Look at last season. We played Wolves at home, right? Declan Rice and Saka had 3 weeks off, and they was put into that game. That shows you everything. That is something that should never happen again. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need you guys at this moment in time because we've got this and this and that. These signings are important for that. And that's where I think we've got to be now. Like, he's going to take his place and all that. No, there's certain parts of the season that you are going to be important to us, because the main guys are not going to be as much relied on as they have been.
I don't know, man.
Guys,
Arteta hasn't shocked me. Just the end of the season, last season, when he had ample opportunity to rest Rice in between some big fixtures, he didn't do that. He's had opportunities to mix and rotate over the years. He chooses not to. So I get that, angle. And yes, we need depth and we need strength in depth. But again, I argue the strength we brought in depth. And I'll argue that the manager hasn't even shown that during times of need, he is able to rotate and do what he needs to do in dead rubber Premier League games or whatever it was come the end of the season.
Well, I think this is where Arteta has got to learn, and this is where the pressure comes on him, because I do believe that maybe in the last couple of seasons, and listen, I'm not having a go at Arteta when I say this, that he's like to manage a smaller squad, a thinner squad, because it's easier to do. It is. But there comes a time that when you've got to manage a squad that's bigger, it's just, and if you want to go on for these things, and he's going to have to be able to do that. And listen, I think he's learning all the time, and this is another learning thing where he's now got to do it. And at the end of it, I'm pretty sure that someone like Sterling would have been in his ear telling him, I should be playing. So maybe he's got a bit of experience from that. I don't know. Listen, as you just said, like, there isn't no excuses no more. You can't be looking at saying, "Oh, this is not that." You've got the squad now, and you've got to use it. And this is what makes the top managers the top managers, because you turn around and go, "Oh, it's easy to manage a team that's got all these superstar players in," which it is if you're winning, and of course it is. But you've still got to manage the players that are not, and that's the key he's got to do now. Like, maybe like he's looking at players and thinking, well, if he's not playing as much, he's going to have a real headaches come Saturday and Wednesday and Tuesday on players, and that's what we want. And he's got to be able to do that. And if he can't do it, then you have to turn around and say, well, this is what you got now, aren't you? You've got to still here. It is now. Can you get us to there? And that is managing the squad properly. So I do think that he's going to have to change a little bit. You cannot continue to do what he done with Saka. You cannot continue to do that. There are times when you just got to say, do you know what? No, you're not playing. Because the fact of the matter is that these managers on international football, particularly with a year going into the World Cup and their jobs on the line, are not going to be worried about resting Saliba. They're not going to be worried about Odegaard. They're not going to be worried about Saka. They're not going to be worried about Gyökeres now. You're not going to be worried about those guys. So we have to look after our own players, and so be it that they might have to miss certain games, but we want to progress in everything as well, and I think that last season there was too much of a drop off, too much.
Mosquera's about to sign, according to David Ornstein. That's for very advanced as well. So again, pre-ruthless from the club. Tomiyasu's gone because he wasn't going to come in till really late because of his injury. We've got Mosquera ready to go. I like that.
I like that signing as well.
Sorry, apparently that deal should be done this week, they're saying.
Yeah. Guys, I want Arsenal to be able to play whoever's 13th. We play them at home next season. I want us to be able to play Raya in goal, White, Mosquera, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly, Zubamendi, Marino, Odegaard, Martinelli, Gyokeres, Madueke. So Saliba, Rice, and Saka getting rested. I look at that 11. That should be the bottom half of the table at home, maybe even away, quite comfortably. And I want to see on Lee's point that rotation, that management of the squad, because there is a degree of depth there. I trust now, absolutely.
Kivior's adequately stepped in and stepped up.
Sure, that you could go Kivior, Saliba. You could go.
That's why. Is it worth spending 20 mil on another centre back?
Well, Tomiyasu's gone, so we have to. We have no choice now. We've got White and Timber as our right backs, and Saliba and Mosquera as our centre backs.
But you see how you say we've got no choice, but fucking hell, the attack needs something. Do you get that same feeling to the attack? It's we've got no choice but to do a lot of things in attack, but our choice is always to not do it.
Totally agree. I mean, our investment in the attack's been horrific in the last really since Arteta arrived. But to be fair, Gyökeres, Madueke, Eze, if Eze happens, by the way, and I keep caveating if we do Eze or some sort of left winger, that is investment. We'd have to love the players, but that's numbers coming in. I thought Arsenal might add one forward, let alone 2.5/3. I thought they'd do one. So I'm quite happy with the numbers and the money they're investing. I'm just not completely convinced by the players and the profiling all the time. But they are adding in terms of numbers there.
And where's my Saka contract as well? Let's not take our fool. Let's not forget about those contracts
Yeah.
too, guys.
Yeah.
Them contracts come with winning.
The way we're going at the moment makes them a little bit easier for me, because it does show that we're showing a little bit of ambition. We look, you know what I mean? Like,
Lee, these players are no fools, Lee. You think they're not looking at Liverpool buying Verts and Frimpong and City going to do Shirky and Rangers and Marmoush? You think this is ambition?
no,
Lee,
I look at it and
these
think to
players are no
myself,
fools.
well, we've got players like that in our team. We've got a fantastic defence. We've got good midfield players. We needed to improve on the front. We needed to. And as far as I'm concerned, we've gone out and got a striker. You know what I mean? Like, if I was a Saliba or I'm a Saka, I'm buzzing for that, because at the end of the day, we've played bloody 6 months without one.
Yeah, buzzing in comparison to not having one, but I think still, when top players look around, we're playing at Arsenal, there seems that
you can only get Turkish what's available, right? Let's get this right. You know what I mean? Look, we'd all like an Isak, but he's not available.
Right? No, Gyökeres is a top addition.
So we've gone in and got what the best we can get available, right?
Yeah,
now we haven't done that. We haven't done that in the right on the left side at the moment, but there's still time. When other teams, we've got Odegaard still at the football club. You know what I mean? Zubimendi is a player that everybody wanted. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, a lot of the big clubs wanted him. We've gone and got him. You know, Liverpool wanted him. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, they've signed him. They've signed.
Robbie in disguise. Are you Robbie in
No. I'm saying that we've got that. Like, you know what I mean? If we could get Eze, I think that's another magnificent signing for us. And I look at us now and think, Jesus, we are stronger than what we was at last season. In areas.
If we had
it's not Jesus though. It's all right. All right. We're stronger. It's not Jesus. We're stronger.
Well, I'm sorry, Turkish. You know, maybe you know.
It's not the Invincible podcast here, Lee. This is the Fourever.
I think it's a big jump. I do think this centre forward is a big deal, boys. I'm sorry.
It's a big deal. It is a big deal, but chance that when we was no longer just a centre forward away, we needed more. And you know what? Caveat with if Eze comes, we'll see. That would make it stronger for sure. But there's still, in my opinion, work that should have been done, could have been done, that won't be done because of the work that we have done. And I'm not talking about Gyökeres there, but on that note, I do know that we have hit time, people. A couple of minutes off the hour, so hit the like button if you haven't done that already. Make sure you are subscribed, and obviously the individual channels, you should know what they are by now. If you don't, Gyökeres 2, Lee Judges TV, Call Us Disabled and Whisper It Loudly, and obviously mine, Turkish LDN and the Big Six. So follow up the individual channels, people, everyone doing content on there. Anything I've missed? I want to say big up to everyone I met over at Wireless. Too many names, too many people, but a lot of love for Fourever Arsenal in particular.
Number one pod.
I was sitting at King's Cross and a lovely girl, Yasmin, come up and said she loves the podcast and all that, and big fan. And I promised her I would give her a mention, so there, I've done it.
Nice. There you go. Yasmin and everyone we met at Wireless. Jordan, James, any last words?
I've forgotten the names.
No, let's go. Pre-season now. Come on, one or two more in. Pre-season. Let's tackle it. I've had my 6-7 weeks off. Wimbledon was, if I'm honest, pretty disappointing. But the final was good, and now I'm back in football mode.
Same.
Let's have it.
The women's final weren't.
No, fair enough.
Perhaps she's the lowest paid. Perhaps she's the lowest paid player on the tour.
Lock it off.
Go over to Invincible, man. We'll be all right without you.